Hey, Mark Harbert here, and in this video, get your pen and your paper ready. I'm sitting down with my good buddy, Ray Higdon. Now, if you don't know who Ray is, he's basically one of the biggest names, practically a household name in the home business industry, and I sat down with Ray for about 45 minutes to talk about his new book, all the things going on in his life, and man, I'll tell you what, there were some serious nuggets. If you want to grow your business, if you want to take it to the next level, this is one interview you don't want to miss. So stick around. All right, well, excited you're here, excited to check out this interview. Again, I did this recently with Ray, one of the most jam-packed interviews I've ever seen, and we're gonna get right into it. I'm super excited. Grab your pen, grab a paper, take some notes, because I'm telling you, the nuggets that Ray drops in this have had me excited for days. And I am so excited for you to see this. So go ahead, get ready, tap in, and enjoy the interview. We'll see you at the end. So without further ado, I wanna get right into it. I am super excited to have this gentleman out. This guy is, every once in a while, I love to give and pay honor to those who've helped me in my journey. And for me, this guy has paid such, has been such an instrumental part to my success online. And I'm super grateful for his leadership and his coaching and his mentorship over the years. But most of all, I'm really honored to call him a friend, not just a mentor, but a friend. And I'm talking about my good buddy, Ray Higdon. So I want to go ahead and bring Ray out. What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man. Thanks for coming out, dude.
Yeah, man. Excited to be here.
Well, I wanted to, right away, I just wanted to say, if you don't know who Ray is, you probably not, I don't even know how to say it. I mean, Ray's pretty much everywhere, but no, in all seriousness, what I do want to say is that, one of the things I've always appreciated about you is that you always honor those who have helped you along your path. And I know Mark Hoverson played a big role early on for you, and you always honor Mark Hoverson. Well, for me, I feel the same way about you. I mean, really, honestly, the things that you taught me, early on, and the things when I was coaching with you, I mean, I'm still making so much money today because of the skills that I learned from you. Those little tips, that little, hey, change this here. Have you thought about that here? Maybe you should try that.
Have you considered?
You shouldn't do that. Yeah. Have you considered? And those little things all add up. And I just remember little tweaks you telling me, and I would make an extra $5,000, just these little things. So, from the bottom of my heart, dude, I don't get to say it often, but I love you, man. I really appreciate you. And thank you so much for all you've done for me personally. So,
well, I appreciate that, man. Love you too, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So
it's rare, it's rare. I always admired people that, honored those who helped them. So I wanted to be that model. And, it is rare. I don't know why, but I appreciate you.
Yeah. No, you have, man. And it's not just me. I mean, I'm sure I can speak, for a lot of people, but, so I really appreciate it. So let's dive into it, man. I'm sure a lot of people, have heard your story, but I'm sure there's some on here that haven't. And I think your story is, very compelling, very tough. I'd love to hear it again though.
Yeah. I guess we start with, I had worked my way up in the corporate world to a pretty good paying salary. And, I realized that, the harder I worked, the more they would pay me, which is nice. That's not always the case, but also the more they would demand of me. And so, I was, staying late. I was having to cancel family trips. I was, I looked at my boss and his boss and her boss, and they were all making more money than me, but they were also more miserable. And that was going to be my future. And I didn't like that idea. I had some friends that were doing well in real estate, here in the state of Florida, 2004, 2005. Everyone's doing good in real estate.
Everybody.
Yeah. And
that's when I bought a house, by the way.
Oh, yeah. 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 And so I figured, man, if these knuckleheads can do it, maybe I can too. And so despite everyone around me, no one thought that was a good idea. No one accepted it, approved of it, agreed of it. They said, you're throwing away 7 years of your career. What are you going to do about benefits? And so nobody thought it was a good idea. But I wanted to create more freedom in my life. And I figured if I worked for myself, then maybe that was possible. And so go into real estate, does well for a few years. And then when the market crashed, I learned a lesson. I was defeated. I was crushed.
Yeah.
And so, what does that mean? Well, I was wiped out. So every dime I'd ever made, I emptied my 401k, my IRA back then, my IRA, which I'd had since I was 18 years old. I sold my savings bonds that my dad had given me, started selling my furniture, still couldn't keep the bills up and ended up in foreclosure. Also went through a divorce, and it was just really, really lean and tough times. A friend of mine reached out to me and told me about a network marketing opportunity, which I had sworn off. I actually didn't want to do network marketing because I just had some bad experiences. I'd had uplines that hated that I
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And, I'd had uplines that said, yeah, you can totally do YouTube. And then all of a sudden my account shut down, and, I just didn't want to do it. But, what were my options? My credit is shot. I'm dead broke. No one's hiring because everyone I know was either in foreclosure or going into foreclosure, and I couldn't get a loan. So what was I going to do? And so I decided that, you know what, I'm going to make this damn thing work. And so back before many people were using social media for network marketing, that's mainly how I did it. Now, I did do, offline things and things like that, but I mainly built it on social media back before people thought you could. And, nowadays, of course, everyone builds on social media. But 10, 11 years ago, people thought it wouldn't duplicate. They thought it was too complex. It was, technology bad. And
I remember the leaders coming out on videos saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do it. Stay off of it. Those online guys, leave them alone."
Yeah, those online guys. and they just, they just didn't get it. And so when we made it work, my wife and I, when we became the number one income earners of that company, people were like, wait a minute, this is different,
Mm-hmm.
and so people started reaching out to us and wanting to hire us, wanting us to speak on stages. And, so we, started, creating courses, started coaching. And long story short, in 2016, we decided to retire from actively building any team. And we've focused this whole time on coaching and training. And so, now, we have a blast with what we do. And, we have been expanding. So we have started, coaching and training different business professionals, realtors, real estate professionals, insurance people. And so we have been expanding, still loving on network marketing. Our group, Rank Makers, in the last 2 years, they've brought in over 200,000 new customers, 52,000 new reps, and achieved 9,200 rank advances. So we track our progress, and we have a lot of fun with what we do. And here we are, and we got the new book out.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. What I love is over the last year, you actually started doing your own reality show.
Yeah.
That has been fun to watch.
Yeah. So you've seen.
Oh
all
yeah,
of
man. Are
them?
you kidding me? Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I love about it is, it's fun to watch because I remember when I coached with you, I'm like, yeah, this is the intense Ray I remember.
Yeah.
Pushing, and I'm grateful for that. One of the things that I always appreciated about somebody, like yourself, and I love directness. Like, be real with me, give it to me. I want to grow,
Yeah.
And I think that's what, when you watch that, you see, but it was just a fantastic, cool thing to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But, I wanted to ask you this. So for me, when I think of Ray Higdon, I think of a visionary, somebody who really, I think most people know you because you're just like this consistent machine. Like, I mean, if you rip your skin back, there's like machinery underneath it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reputation you have. But one of the, you're like the Terminator, you're like at night you pull it off, and you plug in, and but one of the things that I love is that you've taught about having a vision, and your vision will pull you. So for me, with your consistency, I know it's because you have a big vision. And I guess my biggest question for you would be is, how can people get a bigger vision for their life? Some people, I know for me, when I first started, being able to make $1,000, maybe $2,000 a month was very far off. Like to me, it wasn't even possible,
Right.
So how can people get a bigger vision for themselves where they want to be an entrepreneur? Whether it's network marketing or affiliate marketing or online marketing or any other profession that they want to go in. So how can they really build that for themselves?
Yeah. And it's, it is the better question. Like, and it took me years to realize that it was the better question, because for years people would see, me being consistent. Like I've done at least one video a day for over 11 years because I'm a lunatic since July 15, 2009, and never missed a day. Yeah. And people hear that and they're like, and so over the years, people would ask me like, hey man, what's a good daily routine? And I would teach them, they wouldn't do it. Yeah. What's a good daily routine? I'd teach them, they wouldn't do it. Or they'd say it differently. What's a good DMO? I'd teach them, they wouldn't do it. And so I'm like, why do I do it? Yeah. Is it just the knowledge of a daily routine? Is it just like, I'm just aware of things to do? Right. No, it's the vision of who I want to become is more ruthless than any obstacle. And so my vision is like a ruthless dictator that doesn't care how I feel, doesn't care if the internet's good or bad, doesn't care if it's raining outside, doesn't care ever. And so it's the difference. And actually, I don't know if you got this from the book, but rule number 3 is take your why and turn it into your vision. Yeah. And so one of my favorite quotes, I don't know if I included it in here, but one of my favorite quotes is from the Dr. Reverend Michael Beckwith. And I've, had the pleasure to share the stage with him a couple of times. He's incredible. You may know him as the Dreads guy from The Secret. Yeah, I know, yes. Yeah. And, he says, pain pushes you until a vision pulls you. Yeah. And so, like you're asking, how do you create that? Well, a lot of people I've met over the years have had a why. And I think network marketing kind of popularized that, like they're talking about, you got to have a why that makes you cry. I don't know if you can hear it, but my daughter is stomping down the stairs as loud as she possibly can.
That's the beauties of working from home. Fantastic. That's what it is. I got dogs that bark. So if you hear them,
Graham's asleep, but she is stomping down the stairs. Anyway. Yeah. But I would meet people over the years and, they had been taught, you got to have a why, that makes you cry. Yeah. And I think that, at some point, I don't know, maybe it was the 70s or something, that some master taught that and taught it really well. Yeah. And through the years, it's been watered down to now a why is just anything external of you that sounds good. Yeah. I want to retire my spouse. Yeah. I want to, build schools in Guatemala. I want to water wells in Kenya. Right. And it's just something, you just throw it out there and you get recognition, appreciation, accolades, kudos for something you never did. And so it's like this, I want to feel good. This is what I want to do. Help the homeless. And so you just throw this out there and there's no actual plan to ever accomplish it. There's you haven't made any steps toward it. And I would meet people that had, the same why that they've been telling me for 5 years, literally not moved 1 inch closer. And so like, what's up with that? Right. And so a vision is a little different. Actually, the way that Simon Sinek talks about why, I actually classify as, not to correct Simon Sinek, but I actually classify that as vision. Who do you want to become? How do you want to be known? And so, how will your great grandchildren that never met you describe you and your contributions to society? What did you do to help the planet, to impact more people? And if you start asking questions like that, you instantly start thinking differently. You start looking at things differently. It's not, I need to make this commission. It's, I need to show up in a way that people want to join me, that people want to work with me. And so, taking those things that are important to you. I'm not saying that a why isn't important. Right. It is important, but it's just not powerful enough to pull you through the weeds, to pull you through the tough times. The reason I show up so consistently is the vision of who I want to become is stronger than my ability to be distracted. And so who do you want to become? And so, rule number 3 is how to take your why and turn it into your vision. And then rule number 10 is make an impact.
Yeah.
How can you make a bigger impact? And those are the things that drive me. If someone says, hey, I have a way for you to get in front of more people and that want to improve their finances and relationships, I'm all ears. I'm all in. Let's go.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't matter if I'm tired or doesn't matter what time it is. We're going to go make it happen because that is who I am. That is who I'm growing into. That's who I want to be.
Well, and I love that. And, as you're saying that, I had, the unique part about your story too, is that you were at that place of desperation and
For sure.
in both sides of the coin. And,
For sure.
So now you have that, that experience to know and be able to communicate it. But I was thinking, have you ever seen the Fit to Fat to Fit guy? Drew, he's this guy who he went and gained a bunch of weight so he could lose it again and feel what his clients were going through.
Interesting.
And so now he's doing it again over 40 so he can lose the weight again. So he knows what his clients go through. And I thought it was interesting, but that's what I think about too with your story is you've gone through that. And I just got this today, by the way, but this is Ray's new book, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, if I'm going to talk to Ray about it, I got to get his book. Thank God Amazon ships in one day, right?
Yeah.
But when I started going through this, and one of the things that, I'm noticing in here, just in the few things that I've gone, is you're really laying out a plan for people. I mean, just in the little bit that I've glanced through it, you're laying out a plan here. I mean, you've got like checklists, things like that. Yeah. I mean, you've got all the kind of trackers, things like that in here where people can build time, money, and freedom in their life, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the world needs another concept book of, just laying out a great story and here's the concept, good luck. So we made it a real point of there are 10 rules and there's how to execute each rule. And so one of the rules that we've been hearing probably the most feedback on is rule number 2, pluck your weeds. And that's where you identify areas of your life, which could be internal, could be material, could be other people. And you identify what are the incongruencies in your life that are negative, that aren't congruent with who you want to become, and addressing those. And that really is, if I could boil it down to one major thing of how I've changed my life from coming from a house where, when I was a kid, I was very heavily abused up until the age of 12, going to kindergarten with a bloody nose and saying I ran into a door, wearing turtlenecks, in summertime because my neck was so clawed up, and being, literally every morning I was thrown against the closet and stomped. That was my wake up call. Man. And so there's, I've met so many people that have been through so much worse, right?
Yeah.
But people that have been through some of the things that I've been through, it's my job to show up and inspire them. It's my job to reach them. And if I look at, what has been one of the things that got me out, because a lot of people that go through that, they end up, being criminals, which I was actually on the path of being in high school, and or they end up being alcoholics, which I was also on the path of being. And so, what are some of the things that made me turn, my life around? And pluck your weeds is a major one.
Yeah.
For example, I had never had a great relationship, and I had had my heart absolutely broken, which led me to get married to the next person I met, basically. And that marriage, divorce, engagement, disengagement, heartbreak. Like I just had all these terrible relationships, and the only constant was me. Wherever you go, there you are. And plucking your weeds meant identifying what are the traits in the relationships that I didn't want. And I actually created a list of these, some of it was a mirror effect. Okay. Like what don't I want in a relationship, and saying, we're going to pre-pluck these weeds, right? And so I wrote a list of what I wanted in a relationship, and within 6 months met my wife, who I later found that list and cried because it described her to a T.
Yeah.
Like every single point described her.
Yeah.
There's, and this is something I don't think we've even, talked about, this part, but early this year, I was at a charity event, and Jess and I are on the board of a couple different charities, and we're at this charity event, and they have this Belize trip, and this Belize trip is a 5-day trip to Belize. It's a private jet, private yacht, private chef, private island, private everything, and it's amazing. And so they the person describes it to us. My wife is like, oh my God, that sounds like, whoa. Me, it actually sounded like hell on earth.
Oh, wow.
Like I heard that and I'm just like, oh, no. And I didn't let on because she was so excited. But I like later, I remember driving home and I'm like, why am I like that? Like, why do I hear that?
Yeah.
And my wife's super excited and I'm like, hell no. What the hell's wrong with me? Like, why am I that way? And so most people would just be like, whatever's, but that's incongruent with who I want to be. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that's like, no fun, whatever. Right. And so I dug into it. I dug into why does that create so much resistance with me? Why am I so stressed out? And I had some help. I have a couple different coaches that I work with, and one of them's a mindset performance coach, and he actually took me back to a time in the 3rd grade where I had a teacher that knew something was off, something was not right here, and that's when I was being very heavily abused. And so she had me start meeting with the guidance counselor, and so at first I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And so the guidance counselor, we start meeting and starts asking me questions, and it, felt kind of nice. And so I would share, yeah, yesterday this happened. And, and it starts feeling nice because I've never my whole life had anyone to talk to like that. And then one day I go in and it's, for my meeting with the guidance counselor, and my dad and my stepmom are there. And she proceeds to say everything I've ever told her because she thought it was so outrageous that it couldn't possibly be true. And I just wanted attention. Wow. Well, that was the day I stopped trusting anybody. So never again did I let anybody close to me. And so, I'll go and this isn't, super history here, Mark, but this is this year that I plucked that weed. And so I would go and I would speak on stage and rock it out and people would clap, and and then I'm going to my hotel room because I'm nervous. I have social anxiety to even talk to people outside of being on the stage. If you ask me business, I'll talk all day long.
Yeah.
You start asking me about personal, now my guard goes up. I don't know about that stuff. And so I have, if I look back over the years, I've probably turned off so many people from that because it's mistranslated. They don't translate it as, oh, he was, beaten as a kid and, he probably just has, social anxiety and self-worth issues. They translate it as, oh, he's better than me.
Yeah.
Oh, he thinks it's a hot shot.
Yeah.
So like I look back at all the years, there's probably a lot of people I've turned off because they mistranslated that.
Wow.
Fear of allowing someone in and that anxiety of someone hurting me again, betraying me again, has kept people at distance. And so I've kept distance with people, and you can make money that way. You can still do fine, but you're missing a major thing. And I didn't realize that until I plucked that weed. Wow. And we did buy that Belize trip, by the way. So,
well, what I love about what you're saying is what's so powerful about it is, a lot of times as entrepreneurs and we're working on mindset, we focus on what do we want, not on what we don't want. So a lot of times the concept of pluck the weeds is like, why? I don't want to focus on the negative.
Right.
But the problem is that, and I've always told people this, if you sweep your problems under the rug, it's like you can sweep the shit under the rug, but eventually it's going to start stinking.
Yes.
You can only do that for so long. And
Yeah.
at some point, you do have to dig out and find out why you are the way you are. Why do you have certain reactions to certain things? And so that's a very powerful concept. And I'm stoked that you handle that in the book.
Yeah.
And that's a huge, huge thing. And I'm sure there's a lot of people here, listening right now that are, feel that way or doing that. So that's awesome, man. And so this brings me to, and we're going to talk about more about the book here in just a second, but I wanted to, this is a concept too, and you talk about it in here a little bit. Like I said, I was kind of perusing through it.
Sure.
One of the topics that you talk in here is about investing in yourself. And, when you think about someone like your story, and I can even go back to my own story and look at, how did I learn a lot of the skills that I've learned today? How did you learn a lot of the skills that you learned, today as well? And it's all by investing in yourself. And I remember this story, probably 10 years ago, I came across this guy named Mike Dillard, who we know. And I saw a video of Mike, and Mike said, he made this thing. If someone asked me one time and they had $500 left to their name, should they go buy leads with that $500? Or what else should they do with it? And he said he would take that $500 and invest it into some type of training that he could invest into him, because once that knowledge became part of him and that skill set became part of him, it never goes away. So, and I can attest to investing in myself because I invested in coaching with you. I still invest with coaches.
Sure.
And that is a continual thing that I do. So talk about that for a little bit and talk about how investing in yourself has gotten you where you are today.
Yeah. It's funny because, it's strange because there's some people that think, hiring a coach is a sign of weakness or something, or it's for motivation or something. And, I never hired a coach for motivation. I didn't need that, but I wanted to get to where I wanted to go faster. And so, I think the last time I invested less than $100,000 in myself was 2013. And I think I invested $90,000. and so, and I'll give you an example. Last year, I gave Grant Cardone $100,000 for 6 hours. and we broke them up into sessions. In hour one, he gave me, and this, it isn't like anyone could just walk in with Grant and in hour one, it'd make him millions of dollars, right? It's just, for me, the beliefs he held were a vibrational match to where I wanted to go, so much so that in 1 hour, he helped me generate over $1 million. And so like I, 10X'd in hour one, still had 5 hours to go. Yeah. I think I still have 2 hours left. I still haven't actually fulfilled them all. He's busy, I'm busy, so we kind of zig and zag. Yeah. And this is funny, but he actually wrote the foreword to the book.
Oh,
but
he didn't
get it to us on time.
Yeah.
And so the next version actually will have Grant Cardone as the forward. And so that, I've now, had the, kind of bird's eye view of seeing, the online training space and the network marketing training space. And I just have a deep hunger to get there faster. Yeah. And, there were a lot of people that, when I started, when I started, there were a lot of bigger trainers than us. And I think we out invested them, to be honest, is we just were willing to invest in people to raise the bar higher and higher and higher, to learn off the efforts from others so that we could grow faster. And that's definitely one of the keys.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes it's just taking that first initial step. Because I remember when I first hired you, and I remember this nervous sweat started coming, like I'm like,
Because it was a good chunk of money.
It was, absolutely. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, like I'm about to do this. And I did it, and I just remember, but when I started doing that, something shifted in my head.
Yes.
Because something changed. And, you
do you know what it was? I can tell you if you don't know.
Well, it was a nervous energy that I'm going to do this. So, I mean, for me, go ahead, explain it a little bit. Maybe you can.
You were saying that you were worthy of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, like when we talk about plucking the weeds, it means I'm worthy of having an amazing life. I'm worthy of having a life where I'm in control and I'm able to, dictate life on my terms. And so it's that worthiness. Yeah. So I've seen it a lot of times where people, invest in themselves and all of a sudden something changes in their life. And it's really because before that, they weren't sure they were worthy.
Yeah.
And so as long as you're not sure you're worthy, your results aren't going to be that impressive. When you can say, you know what, I am worthy of this. I am worthy of improving, and I'm worthy of investing in myself so that I can go impact more people. It's night and day. It's a different feeling.
Yeah. And I remember just having the idea too. I'm like, okay, my goal is to make this my life, like this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And people go and they spend 40, 50 grand on a college degree that they'll never use. Never. Why can't I invest in myself, to learn my craft? But I just remember.
And what a scam in that, even while all the colleges are, closed or all virtual, you're still paying the same amount.
Look, I changed 2 years ago, I read this article that said the amount of people that get a college degree, the statistic is 27% of people that get a degree go on to use it. So people go in all this debt to get this college degree that never use it. Like 72% of the people. I was like, oh my gosh.
And you're now missing, you could make the argument that one of the major benefits of college is social interactions. And I don't just mean partying, but you actually making connections. You meeting the next president of the bank, you meeting the next inventor, you meeting the next Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Well, now that's difficult. So you're now even, because, both my sons do go to college.
Yeah.
And, they're both virtual, not meeting anybody, still paying the same amount.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So they're saving a ton, the colleges. But, but what I wanted to say too was, the interesting part was when I specifically, and I use you as my example, you were the first coach I ever hired. So for me, this is when I became a big believer in investing in myself, because in the 2.5 years that I coached with you, when I first started coaching with you, I was making about $110,000 a year. Okay. Yeah. And I coached with you 2.5 years later, I was making over $500,000 a year.
It's awesome.
And so for me, that was the holy, shit moment where I was like, this is what it's at, because like I said,
I think college does that too, though. I think that's the same.
Oh yeah. I've heard, 6 figures. Yeah. But for me, that's what it was. It was like, when I said in the beginning, all those littles, hey, have you thought of this? Have you tried that? Have you thought of that? Those were the things that made all the difference. The little things that you don't think, the little mind shifts, the little, strategy tweak, the little positioning things, which I think you're the master of positioning, and, but it was really that. So I love that you're always, you're practicing what you preach. And, for me, that has been a huge example for me and many others in the marketplace. So one more thing I wanted to point out in the book that I thought was interesting, and I'd like to ask you about this. And then, we can talk a little bit more too about how to get the book. But in the book, I'm just going to read this little section because I thought this was great. So this is on page 94, Time, Money, Freedom. You got to make sure you get it. Okay. And, it's, get comfortable with rejection. I thought this was great because it says in this step, we want you to go seek out rejection. Like we said before, the only way to change your old mindset is to practice your new one. Build up your immunity to rejection with repetition. once you get comfortable with rejection, you'll be able to reach out to as many people as there are on this planet without worrying about what they'll say. And I love that. And I just wanted you to talk about that for a moment because, being that, with one of the things that really propelled my online marketing career, so to speak, was video. And that was one of the things that I've always taught people is when you do videos, you're going to get rejected. You're going to get nasty comments. You're going to get people that leave. And I used to put all these, I love, posting negative comments that people leave me because I like to inoculate people, like get them to realize, hey, you're going to have haters out there. I don't care who you are. But anyway, talk about that,
Yeah. And it's important, like, especially if you're on live, and then I'll talk about the concept, but I'll give an example first. So, if I'm on live and I get a hater live, oh man, that's such a juicy opportunity. And not to just attack the hater, right? But to show the audience how to show up in life.
Yeah.
Such an opportunity. And so, someone, hating on you or whatever, it's such an opportunity to show others how to react to that. And so, it's interesting because I never thought that, because I got this concept originally from Go for No, right? So my friends, Richard and Andrea, they wrote a book called Go for No. And when I got serious about network marketing, I went for 20 no's a day. And so before my head hit the pillow, I had to have had 20 no's that day. And so I never thought, and then they loved the story so much that we co-authored a book, Go for No for Network Marketing. Yeah. And so I never thought there was much controversy to going for no. I just thought it made sense. And it's because I've been in, when I was 19, I was in telemarketing making 450 calls a day. And so if you wanted to be a top performer, you would make, 35 to 45 sales for the week. If you times all that out, that's like 1% or something like that. So I mean 99% rejection, or maybe 98%. I forget the exact. But and so I never thought that was controversial. But over the years, it's funny how people have refuted that, why going for no is dumb or whatever, and such a dangerous way to think. And it's one of those things that, like, let's say you're really good at sales. Well, if you go for no, what does that mean? It means that you're swinging higher than you think you can hit. If you start swinging higher than you think you can hit, one, you are going to get some no's. Yeah. But two, those yeses are meaningful.
Yeah.
And, I have a good buddy of mine. He does embezzlement insurance. He actually created that concept, embezzlement insurance. It's interesting because he had it happen to him. And I asked him, like, because I know he does cold calling and I know he makes a lot of calls and he's just a phone beast. Yeah. And I asked him, I'm like, hey man, what's like your longest term, chase? And he told me that there was a utility company that he was going after, or they own gas stations or something. But he went after these guys. He called upon them every other month for 10 years. And he still didn't have the business. And they had something happened, and he called them again to give them some advice, some PR advice over some accident or something that had happened. And he got the business. And so at the end of 10 years, he had amassed a lot of no's, had made $0. Year 11, he brought in over $11 million from that one client. And so, like, getting over rejection is so important. Because it's what will keep you from your dream life, is people shooting you down, people rejecting you, people not accepting, approving, or agreeing of your decisions. Most of the greatest things in my life, people did not agree with, accept, approve, or anything. And so, even and I hear a lot of influencers like to, speak against going for no. And that's a huge mistake. If they really wanted to grow their business, they too would go for no. They would go reach out to YouTube stars, go reach out to actors, go reach out to actresses, go reach out to, studios and things that you don't think you can get, because if you're getting over your rejection, you'll start reaching a little bit higher, and those are meaningful yeses when you do get them.
Wow.
And so, rejection
Totally
will
different.
be,
It's a totally different way to look at it. The
yeah,
way you just
totally.
explained it. Because,
And
yeah, go ahead.
one last thing, and I'll roll it back to you. Sorry, but I've had people say, you know what, Ray, I just want people to thank me. I just want people to appreciate me and love on me and be grateful for me. I don't want to deal with all these haters. And I just don't think that's possible. I don't think you can get to the thankers without the haters.
Yeah.
I definitely had so many more haters before I had thankers. And now it's flipped. I have way more people that thank me than hate on me, at least to my face. And so I don't think you can get to the thankers without going through the haters. That's a futile mission.
Well, and it just comes down to, it all comes back to what we talked about at the beginning, the vision. If your vision is super strong, people can tell you no, they can trash you, they can talk nasty about you, but you're just going to be like, hey, God bless you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See ya. And that's really what it's about. And I think if you go through life, thinking you're going to please everybody, you're going to have a very tough life.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to please everybody. That is just something that, the sooner somebody figures that out, the sooner they're going to break out of that shell and just start going big,
Right.
And stop thinking small. So,
right.
Well, Ray, let's talk about this, man.
Yeah.
This is where can people get this? First off, let me just say here, okay? Ray is probably one of the best. Ray, of course, we got to bring up Jessica here because Jess is on here too.
Yes.
And we know you married up, so we want to make sure that we get her in there. But
Mark couldn't afford to get her on tonight, so me.
Yeah, I threw Ray a 20, and he's like, "Oh, great, I'll come on."
Man.
But Jess, no,
way
more.
This is real.
Right. And but one of the things I love is that you're very good at communicating a concept, and just from what I've glanced already through this, you really lay it out in a fashion for how people can get more time, money, and freedom in their life. So talk about the book, and then where can people go to get it?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So yeah, this is.
Hey, there's Sabrina.
This is. It's published by Hay House. So we've written other books. So, we have a leadership book. We have a social media book. We have a money mindset book. This is our first majorly published book. So it's by Hay House, people who've published Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Joe Dispenza, and lots of other greats. So we're very, very honored to be with them. And they've been a great partner. They've been, we've been live on their page and they've been promoting us. It's been really awesome. This is carried in most major bookstores. I've had, people up in Canada, all over the US. I don't know that anyone's tagged me international, but it should either be there soon or.
Dude, I heard you on the radio yesterday. That was freaking awesome, man. I was like, cool? That was great, man. That was great. Interviewed on the radio. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's it's just been awesome. And so again, this is, who's it for? It's for the person that really wants to improve their finances and their relationships. But you can, if you go to higdongroup.com/bonuses, you'll be taken to a page where if you're wanting to buy copies for your team or you're wanting to, get Christmas gifts or whatever, there's actually some bonus options there. Or if you just want one, you can, pick it up on Amazon or at your local bookstore. And we do have it. We did release it on Kindle, Audible, and the physical, hardback.
Somebody was just asking a question if it was on Audible. So
yep, it's on Audible. I'm getting all kinds of tags on people listening to it on Audible, and that is our voice. And I will tell you, there is a part that I had a major breakdown, and reading it, or reading it into the audio at the audio place in Make an Impact. I'm reflecting on Hoverson and his journey, and I had to restart that part like 4 times. So I don't know how that part sounds. I don't know if you can pick up that there were some emotions flying there, but it is our voice. So Jess recorded some chapters, I recorded some chapters, and we really want to impact people. We really want to help people turn their life around and change the direction of their life, like we've been blessed to with a lot of help.
Well, since Jess is more expensive, can we find out which chapter she read and the ones you read so we know where to go first? Is that?
Yeah, definitely figure that out. And,
right.
just be like, fast forward.
Yeah, there you go. Fast forward. 15, 15, 15, the little 15 forward.
Yeah.
But, well, awesome, man. And I'm pumped for this book. I mean, like I said, I just got it today, but I'm starting to go through it myself and, going to see what I can, pull out of this. I'm sure it's just packed full of gems. There's, I think one of the greatest things that I realized, especially because I got my start in network marketing too, the entrepreneurial bug. When I first started to learn about that, learning was such a journey. I love learning new stuff now, man. It's like investing in myself is one of the greatest things. And, we're talking what, $22-23 for a hardcover, by the way,
Yes.
No, I mean, we're talking hardcover. I say run over and get it, go through it. Yeah. And I'll probably grab it on Audible too. So, but cool, Ray, I love you, brother. Thank you so much. I mean, it's for me, it's an honor to have you out. And, it's always, again, I can't overstate, your impact in my life and my business, something I'm truly grateful for. And I'll honor you to the day I die, man. Because that's just the way it is, and I think when you have that in your life, you have to honor that, because the people who help you along your journey, and I have many people that have helped me along my journey, but I will tell you the biggest one impact in my business has been you specifically, and the times that we work together, and that's why I still sing your praises, man. So I appreciate it,
man. I'm so proud of you, and I know that you impact so many people, so I'm definitely honored. Definitely honored.
Appreciate it. Well, guys, that's it. I really, make sure you also go over to Ray's page if you're not following him on his Facebook page. I mean, you heard him; he does a video a day. He's like a machine. He does a coaching thing on Friday too. So, it's good stuff. But head on over, follow him on Facebook, go to his blog, check him out, and get on his email list. And follow him. So, Ray, love you, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey,
guys.
Love you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out, and appreciate you. Share this video. Tag somebody. If you think this discussion was valuable, tag somebody in the comments. Share it. Send it over in Messenger. Whatever you got to do, get this message out there. This is very powerful for people to listen to, and some great concepts tonight. So have a great one, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.